So, how are you when it comes to the issue of honesty? Would you consider yourself a truthful person? We're going to talk a lot this next month about what it means to be honest. But there are a lot of misconceptions floating around when it comes to telling the truth. We're not suggesting by any means that you should say whatever you think or express whatever you happen to be feeling. There's actually a game show I noticed the other day on Fox. It's called The Moment of Truth. And maybe it illustrates what we're not trying to say about honesty. For example, it asks these very difficult questions that are really abstract, but it wants you to give absolute answers, and it really asks questions that we have no business asking, and it gets information that most of us really don't want to give. The Moment of Truth game will take a contestant, put them center stage, surround them by family, and then ask questions like this. Do you ever wish you were dating someone who's smarter than your boyfriend? Or do you think you would have a better relationship with your dad if he divorced your stepmom? Or does it bother you that there are kids starving in Africa? And it will wait for your response, and then there's a lie detector that will determine if you're telling the truth or not the truth in front of everyone who's watching. I guess the point we're making is when we talk about honesty, we're not just trying to get kids to say anything and everything they think or feel. We're trying rather to get them to live a life that's characterized by truthfulness. Hopefully, as a result of this month, you will help a child understand when they live a life that's truthful, what it does relationally and what it does personally in their own life. We define honesty as choosing to be truthful in whatever you say or do. Again, this idea of honesty has to do with the core of our relationships. I remember when my oldest daughter was about 7 or so, she was with her next door neighbor, and she was upstairs playing in her room, and she spilt some paint on the floor. Well, she did what most 7-year-olds would do. She took a rug and scooted it over the spot that she spilt on the floor, and she walked away and she left, instead of going down and finding the mom and saying, hey, here's what happened, here's what I did. Well, obviously, a day or two after the paint sets, the mother finds the paint, and she's upset, and she's asking how it happened, and it all comes out that my daughter did it. So I want you to imagine for just a moment this scene with me sitting with my daughter on the front steps of our house, trying to get her to understand why it's important to be honest. I said, so why do you think you need to tell the truth? The first thing she said was, so I won't get in trouble, because she knew she was in trouble. I said, no. Why do you need to tell the truth? And she said, well, obviously I'm grounded. If I don't want to be grounded, I need to tell the truth. After about 45 minutes of asking the why question, she finally said this: well, I know now that my best friend's mother doesn't trust me anymore. It was at that moment that the concept of honesty became a value in her life. And she recognized why it was important and the relational consequence that happens when you're dishonest. So why do you think we struggle so much sometimes with being truthful? I think in Hannah's situation, like most of us, she bought into this idea that if she tells the truth, it will cost her. When in reality, it pays most of the time to tell the truth, and it costs ultimately when you tell a lie. Think about the story of Joseph and his brothers. Remember when they were deceptive with their father? All the pain that it caused? That's because sometimes dishonesty, isn't it true, causes us to hurt the people that are closest to us and the people that we care about the most. Then there's the story of Haman and Mordecai and Esther. Haman, because of his deceptiveness, again, ultimately ended up in a dire situation with his own life personally because he led people down a path to deceive them. And then if we jump over to the New Testament, there's the story of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector. He was part of a group of individuals who had a reputation for being dishonest and cheating people. But something about Jesus changed his life to the degree that he recognized that honesty was the key to building friendships and relationships. And part of the reason he was estranged with so many others was because of his dishonest lifestyle. So it's important to be honest, because when we're dishonest, we can hurt those around us that we care about. When we're dishonest, we can ultimately hurt ourselves personally. When we're honest, we build friendships and we build relationships in the right kind of way. And then we're going to talk about a story that when you hear the name of the next character, you almost say he's synonymous with deception and betrayal. And that's Judas. Here was a character, an individual who had a lifestyle of cheating as the one who kept the money, and ultimately his dishonesty led him to the place in his life where he forgot what mattered most. So we're going to use as a memory verse Proverbs 12:22 that says, "The Lord detests lying lips, but He delights in men who are truthful." And hopefully the children who grow up in your ministry and in your homes will just recognize how important it is to be careful before they simply cover something up that's happened that they know ultimately will affect their reputation. But they realize that for the sake of their relationships and for their own personal life, that they're honest.